Hey guys, it's time for the iOS show by tech65.org, the show that's all about applications and tips and tricks for your iPad, iPhone, as well as the iPod Touch. And guess what? It's 12th of October today. That means that iOS 5 is finally available for all of you guys who owns an iPad, iPad 2, iPhone 3GS, iPhone 4, and iPod Touch, the 3rd generation, 4th generation, so on and so forth. So I thought that it would be a great idea to show you some of the stuff that you can do on iOS 5. I'm not going to repeat the stuff that Apple has already said. I'm actually going to show you those things and how to use them and make full use of them on your iOS device itself. So today it's all about iOS 5. Now, of course, since I own an iPad, I'm actually going to be doing all of that from the perspective of my iPad 2. So the first thing I want to show you is actually notifications. Now, in the previous version, iOS 4 and before that, notifications usually appear like a little pop-up, which is kind of annoying. When you receive an SMS followed by a missed call followed by another SMS, you will only see the latest notification, and when you're playing games and stuff like that, it's kind of disruptive. So the cool thing is that they've added this notification panel, and what happens is that notifications can now be found on top. And just to kind of show you a demo, I'm just going to push myself a notification through Twitter, and hey there. And I'm just going to show you how the notifications will look like. There you go. So as you see, it's kind of, let me just zoom it in. It kind of falls down like this, and then it falls back. And you can just ignore it. Or if you want to come back, take a look at it again, it's just kind of found on the top here on this notification panel. So that is the great thing about it, it's really not intrusive at all. It slides from the top, and so all you have to do if you want to open up the notification panel, and that notification just appeared on my iPhone right now. You just got to slide your finger from the top of the screen down. So it works the same way on the iPhone as well. And yeah, by the way, speaking of which, although I'm doing the demo on the iPad, most of the things here are the same on the iPhone as well. And unless they're different, I will specify them. Alright, so you just slide it up from top. So one cool thing that they did is what happens if it's a full screen application. Let's take Goodreader for example, and when you're in full screen, the iOS is designed in such a way that you do not accidentally open up the notification panel for games. Some games involve sliding things here and there. So what happens is that if it's a full screen application, when you slide down, you will see this little tab up here. You see that? So you slide down once, you see the tab. Slide it again to pull down the notification panel. Right? So again, slide one time to pull out the tab, and slide one more time to pull down the entire notification panel. Alright? And also, notifications appear on the lock screen as well. So let me just turn off the display and send myself another notification. And you see the notifications will appear here. So what is the cool thing about it on the lock screen is that as there are more and more notifications, they just kind of stack up one after the other, and you can choose which one you want by putting your finger on the icon and then just sliding it across the particular icon of the notification you want to see. So just kind of slide it and it'll bring you to, in this case, this is Twitter, right? So it works the same way on the iPhone. So if you want to take a look how it looks like on the iPhone, let me just get that to focus. So in this case, notification just came in, so it is going to highlight to you the latest notification, and so I'm just going to turn off the display and turn it on again, and you can see that there's a lot of notifications here. You can actually slide and scroll if there's a lot of them, right? And simply the same thing, you're just going to slide it like that, and it will unlock and it will show you the notification itself on the lock screen. So there are some settings to this notification as well. So all you have to do is just open the settings screen and go to the notifications settings, and you have the option of either sorting the applications by time or sorting them manually. So if you sort them manually, what happens is that when I click edit, alright, you have the ability to rearrange the notifications. Let me just zoom that out. So you can make, let's say, all reminders appear on top first before the calendar. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to put Twitter on top of the calendar. Alright, so when I slide it down, there's no Twitter notifications, but they will be on top here. And one thing to note is that the calendar notification will always be there. You can't actually close it. and you can close the other notifications. So I prefer to do it by time. Now another thing is that you can do more granular settings. So over here you can say to show whether do you want to see it in the notification center or not. What do you want to show? And if you want to go back to the old alert style, you can still do that, but you can I suggest leaving it at banners. So one tip I want to give you is that to go through the notification center and take a look at what applications have been set by default, so that you just look through them and change the settings to the way that you want them to see. And for some applications where you do not want to get any alerts at all, just turn it off right here like this, and they will disappear from the menu itself. Alright, so these are the settings. The other thing I want to show you is some of the upgrades that they've done to the camera application and how to use them. So I'm going to launch the camera app. So here's the camera application, and one extra option you will see if you're using a 3GS or an iPad is you'll see this options button. When you push them, you can turn on some new things. For the lousy cameras, the 3GS, iPad 2, and the iPod Touch, all you can do is turn on this grid on and off. One thing to know is that you will only see this option button if it's the back-facing camera. So if it's a front-facing camera like this, the option button disappears. Right. So that's one thing that you can do. The iPhone 4, you've always had this. The next one is when you take a picture and you go into the photo application. Right, so you have to go to the photo application. So here's that photo. You now have the ability to edit the picture. So just hit the edit button, and now you can do things like such as rotate the picture. You can do some enhancements where basically they will make the colors look nice and so on and so forth. Get rid of a red eye. You can crop it as well. And like right now, oops, I can actually just kind of crop the photo like this. Alright, and so I'm going to say crop, and I'm going to click save. And so that's how you can actually do really cool stuff with the new photo application. On the iPhone, you've got another extra feature. So I'm going to show my iPhone right now. And what you can do is that if you like to take photos a lot, this is something that you're going to really love. Just turn on the phone itself and double tap the home button, and you'll notice that apart from the usual iPod buttons, you now have an extra camera button. So all you need to do if you want to take a photo, just hit the on-off button, double tap, alright, and hit the camera button, and immediately you have the camera application straight away, and you can just use the volume control buttons. This is something that's new. You can use the volume control buttons to take pictures, so it's kind of like a real shutter. So that is something that's kind of cool. Another new feature that you can really use is it's now got Twitter built in, so you can just hit the share button up here. Oops, the share button, right? Hit that, and you now have an option that says tweet. So Twitter is now built into iOS, and any applications that support it will be able to send tweets. So in this case, I'm going to hit the tweet button, and it's going to have this little pop-up where I can say, cool photo, and then I actually tweet it out. So there's a lot of things that you can do with Twitter apart from that. So I'm going to show you in the settings screen. So you can now go here, the Twitter option, and you will need to install the Twitter application, of course, to get this working. And you can do that by going to the Twitter option, and then there'll be a button for you to do that. These are the applications that support Twitter. I showed you the photo application just now, and you can do that from YouTube as well. So I'm going to launch YouTube and a video right here. Hit the share button up here. Again, I can say tweet, and it will send a link of this particular YouTube video. And also in Safari, you can do that the same thing as well. So for example, I want to tell everybody about the new episode of Ask Jarek. Simply go to the share button up here and hit the tweet button, and I'll be able to send this link out, which is really cool. And speaking of Safari, let me just show you some of the new stuff that's available on Safari. The first thing that's available is this thing called a reading list that's actually found in the bookmark section. And what it allows you to do is, this is more useful if you have multiple devices and if you have iCloud, alright? And what this allows you to do is add things to the read list. Let's say, for example, this is a nice article that I want to read later, for example, just add it in. And with the future software update on your Mac, you will be able to find the link up here on your Mac's Safari browser. Of course, it makes a lot more sense if you're on the iPhone and the screen is just really small and you want to add this to the reading list. Just hit the same thing. Just hit the share button, and then just hit the add to reading list, and it will appear about a minute later on your iPad, so that you can actually see it on a proper display itself. Another cool feature that I really like is called the reader option. Alright, so on most websites, when you load a page, you will see this button up here called reader, right? And when you push this button, they will get rid of all of the stuff on the website and only give you the content itself, so that you can actually take a look at the content without distractions. If you're using an iPad, there's also going to be tabs available, so which is really awesome. So you can just always open a new tab like this, and you can close a tab like this, press and hold, and you can rearrange the tabs as well. There's also now a bookmarks bar right here. If you want to add shortcuts to the bookmarks bar, just save anything into this particular folder in the bookmarks called bookmarks bar. Anything that you put up here will actually appear on the bookmarks bar, which will only appear if you are either in the search view or the URL view itself. Okay, another cool thing, you now have a dictionary built in. So for example, let's take a look. Press and hold any word, in this case insurance. Instead of copy, click define. It will open up the dictionary. Works on the iPhone as well, which is really awesome, right? So you can now have the ability to just find out about any word that you do not understand as you're surfing the web or reading an article. So speaking of that, let's go to the email application, and so the define is available here as well. Let's take a look at the word gadget on this, and then click on define. So you have the same thing. You can actually have a dictionary for the word, for any word that you see. You can also reply. Of course, you could have always replied. Sorry, what I meant was you can act the sum now formatting. So I'm going to say test. All right, I can select the text itself, and I can now say bold, italicize, underline, which is really cool. You can also now do indenting, so code level. I can say increase, or decrease to the code level stuff, which is really awesome. All right, so that's some of the stuff that you can find on the iPad application, the email application. Another thing is that if you're using an iPad and you rotate it, you can now kind of just slide your finger from the left, and you will have the inbox appear at any point in time without you having to go to the top up here. A very neat feature. Speaking of which, here's another iPad specific feature. You now have the ability to split your keyboard. So now put it and slide it up like this. The keyboard will split into two. So what's the whole point of that? It's very useful with an iPad when you're holding your iPad on the train, like so. Alright, and it's really, let me just see if I can show you. If you're holding on the train, or just kind of holding it, it's kind of easier to type using your two thumbs like this rather than like that. So you're both holding it and typing it with your thumb. I've used this for some time, and it's really useful, especially if you're on the train. Works on both landscape as well as portrait. Of course, if you saw just now, you can actually press and hold this button as well to manually say undock it, and then you can say split. So you can actually do that. So really nice stuff with regards to the new keyboard. So this is some of the cool stuff that you can do. Right, let's take a look at some of the new settings that's available in iOS 5 that you will be very happy to find out about. The first one is the software update. So right now it's just kind of checking for update. I think the iOS 5, the server is kind of down right now, but over here you'll now be able to receive updates, without having to connect your iPad or your iPhone onto your computer. The second one is an upgrade in the usage. This is really good because in the past you'll only be able to tell how much how much space is being taken. Right now you will be able to see exactly how much space each application is using, so that you can see, alright, VLC and Starfront is taking up the most space. If I want to delete an application, I should start looking at the list from the top here. Really useful feature. Alright, in fact, it kind of show you document data and stuff like that. The application is only 10 megabytes, but there's 1.5 gigabytes of videos inside there. So really useful. You can delete the application straight from there. The next one is the iTunes Wi-Fi sync. Really useful as well. You can now sync over Wi-Fi, provided that one, you gotta turn it on. Let me see. Do you need to turn it? Oh, you don't need. You need to turn it on iTunes. That's what you need to do. Go to iTunes and then tick on checkbox to say enable Wi-Fi sync. Alright, and as long as it is connected to power, your iPad is connected to electricity, or your iPhone, it will sync when your laptop is on wirelessly. Your laptop could be in the bedroom, your iPad could be in the living room, and they will sync wirelessly as well. Very useful. Another cool feature right now, whenever there's any syncing going on, you will just see a little icon appear up here on the top here. You will never see that screen that says syncing anymore. In other words, you can continue doing your things, you can continue surfing the web, play games while your iPad is being synced, which is really awesome. I hate to wait for my iPad to finish syncing before I can actually do stuff on it. So that's pretty awesome. Alright, another feature, this one is specific to the iPad. Alright, this is the multitasking gestures. Once you turn it on, so you gotta see the video right now from my camera, you can now do gestures using your fingers to navigate between applications. Oh, there you go. That is the notification that appeared from the reminders. Right, but anyway, back to the multitasking gestures. If you use 5 fingers and you pinch like this, alright, you'll be able to minimize the application, alright, and bring it up. So let me just or if you take this, your 5 fingers, and you slide it to the right, you'll be able to slide to the next application on the right. Slide it back to the left again, you'll come back to the same application, and slide your fingers, 4 or 5 fingers upwards like this, and you'll be able to get this here. One thing to know is that the order in which the applications sync depend on what's on this little bar right here. So in this case, when I slide right, it's going to be the messages application. Alright, so I'm going to go like this, it's messaging application, slide back, it will come back to the settings. Okay, so if I want, let's say for example, a real use case will be, let's say for example, I'm using Goodreader together with maybe my email. Alright, so I'm writing an email, and then after I'm referring to my document. So okay, yes, useful information right here. So I'm going to take that and then slide back here, continue to my typing. So that's a good use case. So now what you need to do again, just launch the 2 applications one after the other that you want to launch. So in this case, let's say for example, I want to do messages and reminders. So messages first. Alright, go to the multitask. I go to reminders. So right now, when I go reminders and I slide it to the right, you see my messages, and so on and so forth. So this will go down the list based on the the multitasking panel at the bottom. Really useful. iPad only, unfortunately, but it's really useful. And as you can tell, without this feature, I probably wouldn't be able to do the iOS show as well. You see me doing a lot of that. You will see me doing a lot of that on the iOS show to kind of demonstrate how to do stuff. Alright, next, that is on the general features. So Twitter, I've kind of showed you some of the stuff here, the applications that can use Twitter and stuff like that, add accounts. Update account contacts will actually help you find all of the accounts with Twitter account and kind of just sync stuff together, so you can send tweets straight from your address book, which is really cool. Of course, the cool stuff is iCloud, and what iCloud allows you to do is sync a lot of things. Okay, you can sync, or they give you a free account as well. They give you a free mobile me account, so it will be something at me.com, and everything will sync between your devices. So it's really useful if, like me, I have an iPhone and an iPad. So whatever I do on the iPad will sync to my iPhone, like just now the reading list and things like that. Really useful. Reminders, create a reminder, will appear on my iPad as well. So that's one of the advantages. But if you only have one device, you get a free email address, you get backup as well, so you can see the backup option is right here. Alright, so you can enable backup, but it will only give you up to 5 gigabytes of storage. If you actually want to buy more storage, you can buy more from here, and it will cost a bit of money for 10, 20 or 50 gigabyte. Now let me just show you the new applications that are introduced on iOS 5. So the first one is the newsstand application. So basically what you can do is you can download magazines and newsletters and newspapers, and as new issues come in, they'll just appear over here, which is really cool. Unfortunately, there isn't much stuff on the App Store right now for me to try out. The other one is the reminders application, which is pretty awesome. So I'm just going to add a reminder right now. So test again. Test. And then after that you can say remind me. If you are using most of the devices you only see on a day, so I'm going to set this to 10:55 p.m. and I'm going to hit done. Alright, if you're using iPhone 4 or iPhone 4S, you can actually have a new option where you can set a reminder by location, and as you leave or enter the location, it will send you an alert, which is nice. The other one is the Messages application. Of course, it's always been there for the iPhones, but this is now available on the iPad as well as the iPod Touch, and allows you to send messages. If you're on the iPhone and you send a message to anybody else who also using iOS 5, messages will be sent over 3G rather than over your normal SMSs, which is basically kind of like WhatsApp built into the iOS itself, which is a neat stuff. But of course, again, I don't have any other people using iOS 5 to test it or demonstrate it to you right now. But it's a neat feature because that means that whatever SMS conversations that you have on your phone, you can now keep track of them and send messages on your iPad and your iPod Touch as well. So that is the new iOS 5. I do not think I've missed out much things. Let me see on the notes. your notes, if you're using iCloud, you gotta and choose the correct notebook from the accounts. So here I go to this are my iCloud notes. These are my normal notes. Okay, so by doing that, that's only when your notes will sync. If you're using an iPhone, you will no longer find the iPod application. You'll now have the music application as well as a video application. By the way, on the iPad, the music application has been totally redesigned, so it looks totally different, but works pretty much the same as the original one. Now your tabs are found at the bottom instead of on the side. And that is about it, actually. Let me see. There's some improvements in Game Center, but nothing significant, to be honest. But yep, this is iOS 5. Let me just open Keynote again. Where is my Keynote? Right here. So that was iOS 5. If you actually want to find out more about iOS 5, just leave a comment on this YouTube video, and if this video has been useful for you, give me a thumbs up to let me know. Alright, so I do know that some of you are not that fond of the Parallels mobile application, so but thumbs up if that video was still useful, and if you thumbs down, leave a comment, let me know how we can improve and why you thought that video wasn't very useful at all, so that we can serve you much better. Right, so that was the iOS show for the brand new iOS 5, available for free. Just check with iTunes, hook up your iPad, iPhone, iPod Touch, and it'll tell you brand new updates. Remember to sync your iPad, iPhone, and iPod Touch first before you do an update, so that anything happens, you can restore it from a backup. Alright, so that was a tip from the iOS show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/65bits, and check out all of our other videos at www.tech65.org. And I am Daniel. I am looking forward to the iPhone 4S, and once the iPhone 4S is here, I can now start showing you guys iPhone applications as well. And so that's it. I'll see you guys really soon. Goodbye.